Bob Regnerus of Feedstories, Part 5. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. Today's a little different than other days. We actually have Part 5 of a conversation with Bob Regnerus, and so this will be a lot of fun. If you haven't caught the rest of them, go back and watch them. But if you would like to be on the podcast, or if you'd like to have me on your podcast or speak at your event, go check out brianjpombo.com. And now here is Bob Regnerus. If you can change one thing about either the industry within that you work in or your business itself, if you could change one thing, what would it be?
Well, that's a really good question. I think one of the things that bothers me about the marketing industry in general is there's a lot of disingenuous people who really aren't there to serve people. They're there to kind of make money, and these people tend to get called out after time. They kind of get. It's really hard to hide that stuff these days. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people talk and things like that. So I really don't like people that take advantage of others. I'm not real keen on hacks versus fundamentals. In addition to running companies, I'm a high school basketball coach, and for us to be successful as a team year in year out is we have to focus on fundamentals. So I'm not big on like this is like a fluke play or a tactic or a hack that probably has a shelf life of a couple months. I hate people getting like it's the bright shiny object syndrome. I hate when those things get weighed in front of people and they waste money on it and they spend a bunch of time, and yeah, maybe it works for a while and then it like fizzles overnight. I don't want people to be in that cycle. So I try to do things that are based on fundamentals that have lasting value. And I think that's what I would change is that's probably the thing that bothers me the most.
Mm. You mentioned coaching a sport versus coaching a business person with their marketing and so forth. But what are the similarities and what are the differences? What do you like most about that aspect of it?
It's a great question. So coaching is the same no matter it's sports or business. A coach is not there to play the game. So a coach is on the sidelines. The coach is preparing the players. The coach is, coming up with plays and going over strategy and putting the pieces in place to make a team more successful. Same thing in business, right? I'm not running your business. I'm not there doing everything for you. Like if I'm there doing something for you, then I should be like an equity partner or you know what I mean? Like I should be paid differently. I come in as a coach and it's like, no, we're going to talk about strategy. We're going to talk about how you win. We're going to talk about positioning people in the right place. We're going to talk about things that have some lasting value. But in the end, it's really up to you to be successful. Okay. Now, a coach shares in the success, probably shares in the blame more than the success. Like if a team loses, like I try to absorb as much of that as possible. Like, hey, I didn't prepare you enough, or I didn't put people in the right place. But there's a shared sense of responsibility. But ultimately, the person playing the game, the person on the court, the person in that business is ultimately responsible. And I think it's a really good relationship for people. I don't want business owners advocating their responsibility to a consultant or something like that. It doesn't make sense to me, because then ultimately, do you really own that business if you
Mm.
give up the responsibility for its success or failure? A good relationship for me is going to be one that I may be doing some services for you, but ultimately we're in a relationship where I'm giving you the skills and helping you win when it comes to business or a high school basketball game.
Mm. That's great. It's a great way of looking at it. The it's a funny thing about when a person is searching out a coach or a person that has all these great services like you provide. If someone were looking to find out more about, say, Facebook advertising, what is the first step they should take? Let's say this is the first time they've ran into you. It's the first time they've said, well, they may have, they've probably
Yeah,
been thinking up till now about Facebook advertising, but what should they
right.
do first?
Well, I'll just go the way I'll answer it maybe a little bit different. Like if I'm going to seek out knowledge on something, I'm going to go to a book first. Like, you know, I'll say this, like, yeah, I have a high-end Facebook course, all right? It's a couple $1,000s and it's hours of me like showing everybody what to do inside an account. But the book itself that I wrote contains everything you kind of need to know. All right. Now you pay for the course if you want to expedite things or you want that hands-on, learning from me. But you go into a book and you start to work. You start to apply some things. Like I think it makes sense. I love the whole idea of kind of like demonstrating something and then doing. So kind of way I do coaching and practice is, we'll demonstrate a skill first and then we'll work on the skill. So I like people that have a little initiative that like, okay, hey, I got your book, or I'm gonna, I did this in your book and I've got these types of questions, or I've gotten this far. Now I really need to like accelerate my learning. That's really what kind of a course or coaching is for, is I want to take it to the next level. But you should prepare yourself with a baseline of knowledge. Um, so I wrote the book so that like a beginner could pick it up and do
Mhm.
some things. An intermediate could certainly like advance and get to be an expert real quickly. An expert reads a book, and this is interesting. Like I'll have people that have been doing Facebook as long as me, or at least managed maybe more bigger accounts than me, who will get into the book and say, "Hey, you gave me that idea on page 270," or they look for one or two nuggets out of the book, and it's worth it to them. So you kind of have to kind of figure out where you're at. So like I so yeah, I call myself a Facebook expert, but I drop in and I follow people that are on top of things in Facebook because I'm not going to be able to be on top of everything. And so I'm not like going to John Loomer, let's say, and stealing like, oh, he came up with this idea, I'm going to steal that no. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to expand my knowledge and keep up to date with those things. So I'll go in and I pay for John Loomer's training because what he does for me is he kind of keeps track of what Facebook does every week. I don't do that. Okay. That's not what I offer. I'm more about creative and account structures and things like that. It's more of a strategic thing. So, like, if John comes out with something, I'll go to my group and say, "Hey, John Loomer talked about this." All right, and I'll give credit to that. And I think that's kind of what you do is you start with a skill, you go into a book, you take a beginner course, and then you just keep accumulating that knowledge. Like you're in there practicing it. I mean, a physician does the same thing, right? They go to college, they get a base level of knowledge, they start as an intern, they practice medicine, they keep up their skills. Like, I think anyone who claims to be an expert in anything really has this value of, I just need to keep learning this. I need to, because there's things I know I don't know, and things are going to always change. So I need to make sure I'm on top of those things. So I think that's why I approach it. I think that's probably the way most logical people will approach is get a base level of knowledge. Then the level of acceleration you need is really how much you invest. So if you want to become better at something faster, you usually have to invest time or money to accelerate that.
Mhm.
I Going back to the example before, like, I knew I wanted to run a company and I had this idea of running an agency. I paid to go to a mastermind because I know it would accelerate my success because I wouldn't have to go through all the trials. I had people in that group that would help me get to where I needed to be faster. So that's kind of my rationale is you pay either in time or you pay in money to accelerate where you want to be. That's kind of the way to like stay ahead of things and accelerate what you're doing.
Awesome. That's great.
For full conversations, go to bjpchats.com.